Hello, everyone. This is All Star Hoop Talk with Shane
and Ethan, because every team needs an all-star. Okay, so today let's start off by talking about Game 1 in the NBA Finals.
Okay, tell me what happened. Who won?
The Celtics.
And was it a close game? Was it a blowout? What happened?
It was not close at all.
So the Mavs just were not prepared to go into Boston, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you think they'll be able to bounce back?
Yeah.
Okay, because you're still predicting them in 6 to 7 games, right?
Yep.
Do you think they can pull it off tonight?
Yeah.
What makes you so confident?
I mean, I think that they've learned from their mistakes from Game 1, and I think that they'll be able to just barely, by maybe 1 to 5 points, take Game 2.
Okay. And what do you think was the main thing they need to work on going into Game 2 to make those adjustments from Game 1?
Better offense.
Okay. You just felt like they weren't clicking on that?
No, the Celtics defense was much better, and that's what shut down their offense. But they just need to have better offense, and they need to have everything clicking for tonight.
Okay. Was anybody like off their game that first game? Was Doncic or Kyrie, were they just completely off their game? And was the Boston Celtics shutting them down? Or what aspects of their offense do they need to get clicking?
Yeah, I would say a lot of people were off their game, including Doncic and Kyrie in the first game. But like I said, they just need to improve their offense, and if they have enough time, improve their defense, because that's really all the two key things that you need to win a game.
Is offense and defense.
Yep.
But what about the old adage that says defense wins championships?
I mean, that might be true.
It worked for Boston, didn't it?
Yeah.
Because their defense shut down the Mavs, didn't it?
Yep.
So, do you think Dallas needs to come in with a better defense and then their offense will work? Or do you think they just need to get their offense focused and them on track and then their defense will show up?
Maybe balance it, because if they have good defense, the Celtics, they're still going to be good at defense, and so it'll still be hard for the Mavericks to score, so they should balance it out, work on offense and defense.
Okay. And now, we talked about this last time. Boston had the best record in the entire NBA for the regular season. And so they're just kind of used to beating up on all these other teams. And do you think that's going to be what they do throughout this series? Is they're just going to find ways to beat the Mavs?
They might, but I don't think they'll find many ways.
Okay. So tonight we have Game 2, and after that game, do you think the series is going to be tied? You already said it, but do you still think that?
Yeah.
Okay. So, I don't know. The way the Celtics played last game, if they play that way again, and if the guy that was injured last time, what was his name again? I can never say it.
Kristaps Porzingis.
If he is back with a force like he was last time in Game 1, I think they're going to take Game 2. So you got Mavs winning tonight, but I'm thinking if Krista shows up, they're going to be all over it. Did I pronounce his name wrong again?
Yep.
What's his name?
Kristaps Porzingis.
Kristaps. So you'd think I'd get it right, but I still mess it up, don't I?
Yeah.
So I'll just let you stick with the names. Okay. And so if he shows up again and he is on fire offensively, I think the Celtics are going to win again. And there's not going to be any stopping them. So now, I mean, we've alluded to it in the past, and we've mentioned once the NBA Finals is over, we're going to start analyzing every team and their chances of making it to the finals next year, right?
Yeah.
So when we start that, how are we going to start? We're going to start looking at teams in the East. We're going to start looking at teams in the West. How do you envision that happening?
I would say start looking at the best teams and then go down to the worst, or start with the worst, go up to the best.
I figured we'd start with the worst and work our way up.
Yeah.
And go from there. And maybe what we should do is, if the Celtics win and they're from the Eastern Conference, then maybe we start with the worst team from the Western Conference, start talking with them. And then after we do them, we do the worst team from the East and keep kind of going back and forth until we get to the Celtics. And so that we can kind of go back and forth and say the chances for each team to go and win it all next year. What do you think of that?
Yeah, that would be good.
Okay. And then we can also talk about the NBA lottery, because the draft already happened, so we know the order is that their teams.
The draft lottery already happened.
Right. That's what I meant. And so then we could talk about the chances of each team picking up the number one player and number two and just all this stuff. And so we can go from there. So, but we will see how game 2 plays out tonight, and if Boston is going to go to Dallas with a 2-0 lead or not. Right?
Yeah.
Now, once they get to Dallas, do you think it's going to be easier for Dallas to kind of start putting the pressure on Boston and picking up some wins?
Yeah, but I only think they're going to win one, and the Celtics will also win one in Dallas.
Okay, so they'll kind of split the series.
Yeah, every single series will be an even series until Game 7, where I predict that the Mavericks will win.
Okay, so now you're going from the Mavs winning in 6 to 7 games to taking it all the way to Game 7, huh?
Yeah.
So our next podcast after tonight's game, we'll have to revisit that. If my prediction is right, that the Celtics will have a dominant 2-0 lead, we'll have to see what your predictions are there then, huh?
Yeah.
So now let's go. Well, before we go, is there anything else with the NBA that we need to talk about before we move over to the WNBA?
I don't think so. I've heard a little bit, though, about the Lakers looking at, I think, the Cavs' old coach for their coach. I'm not completely sure, but that's just something that I heard.
Okay. Yeah, and as the season isn't completely finalized yet, getting some of those rumored trades and, picking up different people for this and that's going to be interesting to see what teams need coaches and who they're going to pick up and who they're going to kind of build their franchises around, right?
Yeah.
And that's all the stuff that we'll get into more detail after the finals are done, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And now that I think about it, Mike Brown did sign an extension contract.
That's right, with the Kings. So, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it was for 3 years?
I thought it was it was either 2 or 4, I thought.
Okay, we'll look into that, but at least he's safe for another year or two coaching the Kings.
Yeah.
And hopefully some more playoff appearances, right?
Yep.
Okay. And we'll definitely be talking about that once we get into that part of the postseason and stuff. So, well, let's look at the WNBA real quick. And I heard some news today that, obviously everybody has been really following Caitlin Clark, and we've talked about her a bit. because she just did amazing things in her college career. And heard today that she's not going to make the USA team. Did you hear about that?
Yeah.
And so she won't be representing the United States going to Paris for the Olympics. Did you hear why that happened?
No.
I had heard it was because she didn't make some pre-game trainings to be kind of considered like tryouts and stuff for the U.S. team earlier in the year. But that was also during the time when she was doing her college Final Four, playoffs, March Madness run and everything. So she had a legitimate reason why she didn't attend. She was still working with her college team, the Iowa Hawkeyes, trying to win a championship. So to me, it seems like she should be given a chance to be on the team. Don't you think?
Yeah. I mean, I didn't think she would make it as a rookie, but she should be given a chance.
Yeah. I totally agree. I don't know if there's any rookies or how many rookies from the WNBA this year that made the U.S. Olympic team. That's something we should look into and talk about for our next time. But if the team is made up of nothing but rookies, then why not include her, But I highly doubt that it's all rookies, right?
Yeah.
So, but she should have been given a chance because it doesn't seem like it was her fault. It's not like she just said, I don't want to do it. I'm going to miss it. Count me out, right?
Yeah.
That would be something different. But she seemed to have a legitimate reason why she wasn't there. But, oh well. So we got some more Commissioner Cup action going on. And so some interesting news now is that Connecticut suffered their first loss of the season now at the hands of the New York Liberty, right?
Yeah.
And so in the Eastern Conference for the Commissioner's Cup, who's leading the league there?
The New York Liberty.
And who is basically tied for second place right now?
The Connecticut Suns and the Indiana Fever.
I know. That's interesting. The Fever have got 2 wins in the Commissioner's Cup and 1 loss, just like Connecticut, right?
Yeah.
So they're in contention, but they're still quite a ways behind the Liberty, aren't they?
Yep.
So, and then going down to the Western Conference, who is in first place over there?
The Seattle Storm.
And then Phoenix is right behind them, and so is Minnesota, but they both have 1 loss, unlike Seattle. All 3 of those teams each have 2 wins, but Seattle is undefeated, right?
Yeah. So
it's very tight still in the West, and the East, the New York Liberty, they're just blowing it open, aren't they?
Yeah.
So, and then let's see what is the regular season standings, because you've got Connecticut ahead of the New York Liberty with 9 wins and 1 loss. That's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
But look at what's the New York Liberty's record at number 2?
11-2.
So you would think they would be in first place, right?
Yeah.
But why aren't they?
Well, because when you average their win percentage out, it is less than the Suns' percentage.
Because they've got the 2 losses.
Yep.
So, but if Connecticut wins another game, or they lose their next game, and they would be 9-2, they would definitely drop to that 2 spot, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
And New York would jump up ahead. So now the Indiana Fever, they've got 3 wins so far. but they're still at 11th place, aren't they?
Yep.
And it just seems like they can't find that rhythm to really keep consistently winning yet, have they?
No. And then the Washington Mystics are still in 12th place.
And do they have any wins yet?
Nope.
Oh, man. That's got to be just devastating.
And they lost by 2 to the Fever.
Oh, man. And that was in the Commissioner's Cup, right?
Yeah.
Whew. That's got to be heartbreaking. You're so close. But that's the way a lot of these Fever games have been, too. They've been losing by 1-2 points each. So... And so, when does the WNBA season end again?
I forgot.
Okay, and how many more games are there in the Commissioner's Cup? Do you recall?
No, but there should only be 5 per team in each conference, and then it starts to go into the playoff mode.
The elimination round and stuff. Okay, so the New York Liberty, they're 5-0, so they've advanced already. They're done.
Yeah.
They're going to the elimination rounds, correct?
Yep.
Okay, and so then pretty much everybody else, they don't have 5 games in the Commissioner's Cup yet. They've got like 3 games. Everybody else has 3 games.
I think it's possibly the top 4 or a top 2 in each conference that advance.
Oh, well then, how will that go in the Eastern Conference? Connecticut and Indiana are tied for number 2, but their points differential is that how it goes? Because remember in the NBA in-season tournament that they did this year, the first time they did it, and it was based on how many points you beat your opponent by would kind of separate you. Is that what the difference for the standings are? Because Connecticut is a plus 29 and Indiana is a minus 33. So is Connecticut beating their opponents in such a way that they're beating them 29 more points higher than the Fever? Is that kind of how that works?
Yeah.
Okay. And so that would be why Connecticut is then number 2 and Indiana is 3, correct?
Yep.
Okay. So it'll be interesting to see how all of that goes as they close out the Commissioner's Cup and start making it into the elimination round and everything, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, was there anything else that we needed to talk about that you wanted to mention but we forgot at this point?
Actually, yes. For Caitlin Clark, we did explain how she was averaging 5 turnovers per game.
Yeah.
And in the game against the Washington Mystics, she got 8 turnovers, and that was her 8th game with 5 or more turnovers.
Wow. And I saw a thing that said that most of her turnovers, or maybe it was you that was telling me this, are coming from the way she's passing it. And so do you think it just that she needs to adjust to her playing style in the WNBA and get better, crisper passes?
Yeah.
Okay. And as she's in the league long enough, that'll probably come in time, don't you think?
Yeah.
So it's probably nothing to worry about yet, but if she keeps it up throughout the end of the season and even into next, then she's got to figure something out to adjust, right?
Yeah.
I think she'll adjust heavily in the off season if she doesn't get it figured out before the end of this season.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, is there anything else that we need to talk about?
No, I don't think so. So
okay.
This is